Hi. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you guys about something that not that many people know about me. I mean, really just a handful, like my family and my ex-boyfriend that I was dating at the time that this happened, um, know this about me. I haven't really shared it with anyone. Not because I haven't wanted to, but I mean, it's not really something you go around sharing. So here we go. Um, Also, I'm not reading off of anything this time, so don't mind me if I get sidetracked or go back and forth a little bit. Okay, so here we go. About a year ago, actually just over a year ago, um, I witnessed and watched a man die. That sounds pretty bad, but I'm gonna sit here and explain it. Okay. It was last June. Um, I was coming home from somewhere. I don't remember where I was coming home from, but I decided to take some back roads home for absolutely no reason. Like I just decided that I wanted to kind of drive around a little bit more, um, and so I went out of my way and I went on some smaller roads. I guess they're not really back roads because we don't really have back roads, but I went on some smaller roads and when I got back onto the main road, I was driving for not even 30 seconds, and all of a sudden, this oncoming car crossed into my lane, like pretty far in front of me. So I wasn't in any danger at that point. It coming from the left and crossed over my lane to the right, and then continued off the road into the grass that was there. And for a second, like it took me a little bit to register what was going on because I mean that's not really something that happens all the time. At least not to me, it doesn't. I mean, I don't know. Um, so it took me a second to register, and I'm still driving, and I glance back in my rearview mirror, and the car is like rolling to a stop, and I was like, "There's obviously something wrong right now." And so I go up to the next intersection. Like after I was like, should I even stop? And then you know, I don't know. That's kind of a dumb question to ask yourself when you see someone's car rolling off the road. Of course, you need to go stop. So I went up there. I went up to the next intersection, and I turned around. Once the traffic was clear, which it was not a lot of traffic, if I recall correctly. And then so I went. Sorry, moving around. I went back to where the car had stopped, but I was on the opposite side of the road that I was previously on. Obviously, I turned around. And so I pulled off into the shoulder and I threw my hazards on. And then I ran across the street, like, because obviously people by that time were kind of starting to figure out what happened. So I ran across the street. People stopped for me and I ran across. And by that time, couple had stopped already. I later found out that they were traveling behind the man whose car went off the road. And I'm not sure if it was the husband or the wife that was on the phone with dispatch, but somebody was on the phone with dispatch by the time that I had gotten there. Um, my memory really sucks, and so I'm not exactly sure what happened next. All I know is that I ended up at the car of the man who ran off the road, and I was opening his door, trying to get his attention, trying to see if he was okay, seeing what was going on, that kind of thing. Um, he was unresponsive, alive, breathing, but unresponsive, foaming at the mouth a little bit. I noticed that he had a cell phone on his little center console thing. It was turned off, it was charging. Um, so I turned it on, like, I don't know what wanted to do. I wanted to, like, I don't know, call his family, like, see if he had any family phone numbers in there. Um, call someone from his contacts, figure out who he was. Um, Sorry, I got a text message. And I don't really know what I wanted to do with that, but it seemed like a good idea at the time. It took forever to turn on, and then once it finally did turn on, I couldn't figure out how to, like, unlock it, I guess. The couple was still on the phone with dispatch. They were kind of doing everything with that. I really don't know why it took them so long for the ambulance to get there, because the ambulance was literally 2 minutes, like the station was 2 minutes away from where we were, and it took them a good 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes to get there. And so, like, I don't really know what was going on with that, but during that time, I sat with this, he was an old man, like, he wasn't in his 50s or whatever, he was like 70s, 80s, and I sat with him, and I just kind of comforted him, like, as best as I could. I mean, I'd never been in that situation before, so I just kind of sat there, and I just told him that, like, everything was going to be okay, and that he was going to be alright, and told him to hold on and hang in there. I don't know. Patted him. I held his hand the entire time that I was sitting there next to him. And then dispatch finally arrived. And what bothers me most about that is when they were taking him out of his car, like, he lost his shoes. And the last thing that I saw before I left was his car laying there and his shoes just kind of, like, thrown near the car. I don't really know why that disturbs me so much, but it really does. I don't know. I gave my information to the police, like, they never called me because nothing was damaged, nothing really happened. Like, he just went into, like, he had a stroke or he went into cardiac arrest or something like that, while he was driving. Apparently, my mom and my dad kept the newspaper obituaries away from me, because they knew how, like, distressed I was about it. When my mom saw his obituary in the paper, she sent an anonymous card. It had our address on it. An anonymous card saying what I had done, to his, like, for him, to his family. She sent it to his family. And his son responded and wanted to meet me and stuff. And it turns out that this old man was the owner of a small restaurant that we have in town, and he had just been leaving that restaurant and was completely fine about 2 minutes beforehand. So, at the beginning of this video, I said I witnessed and watched a man die, and that really sounds, like, makes me sound bad, like, why the fuck didn't you do anything, Abby? Like, what is your problem? There was nothing I could do. It doesn't really haunt me. It's just, like, one of those things that's always going to be with me. And it's always going to be, like, a little part of me. I don't know. But I don't really, like, no one knows that about me. So now you know. And I don't know. I guess what I learned, or what I'm taking away from my own experience, is that things really do happen for a reason. Like, why did I go out of my way that day? I don't know. Yes, I do. I thought I didn't at the time. But now I do. It was so that I could be there and comfort that man while he left this earth, I guess.